My name is Bob Barrett. I live in Madison, and I'm a Secret Service agent. Originally, the Secret Service was founded in 1865, signed into law by Abraham Lincoln, actually on the night of his night that he was assassinated. He authorized the creation of the Secret Service to detect and deter counterfeiters, and that was our initial mission: was to suppress counterfeit currency in the United States. It wasn't until 1901 that we assumed the mission of protecting the president, and that was after the assassination of President McKinley. And since then, our mission has expanded to just beyond the president, the vice president, and as I said, we originally were founded for counterfeit deterring and suppressing counterfeit currency. But with the advent of computer crimes and electronic crimes, we've expanded into deterring financial crimes that happen on computers and over electronic means.
My name is Mark Enright. I'm a retired special agent with the United States Secret Service. I joined the United States Secret Service in 1983, and I retired as the resident agent in charge of the Secret Service field office in New Haven, Connecticut. When I went through training was 8 weeks at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia, for basic federal law enforcement training, followed by an additional 8 weeks in Washington, D.C. for specialized Secret Service training.
What are some things that would prevent someone from having this job?
Well, the primary thing would be criminal activity prior to the application process. So for instance, while in high school, if you use drugs extensively, that would disqualify you from being considered. If you were arrested and charged with a crime, that would potentially disqualify you from being considered. Those would be the two primary things that would keep you out. But also, if you had a chronic medical condition, because you have to be in top physical condition, that would probably disqualify you from being considered. If you had significant problems with your eyesight, that would disqualify you from being considered.
The first is drug use. We'll ask about drug use. And the second piece is the integrity piece. And while we're asking questions about their past behaviors, their past activities, yes, past drug use, the core question or the core theme that we're looking at is the integrity. Can you be honest with us? Can you tell us the truth about you when you were growing up? Because if you can't be honest with us about this interview, as we move forward, how can we trust you to be around our nation's leaders? While we ask questions about drug use and prior behavior, what we're looking for is the honesty, the integrity. And that really is probably the most central theme is we're looking for someone that can be honest and be upright with us when we ask questions. So someone who lacks integrity, lacks the ability to tell the truth during an interview, would definitely prevent them from becoming a Secret Service agent. Absolutely. We also have uniform division officers as well, and this falls into the same category with the uniform division officers. Past behaviors and their inability to not come clean and tell the total truth with their past behaviors.
Well, I started as a special agent in the New York field office in 1983. I was there from 1983 to 1988. I primarily did criminal financial crime investigations and counterfeit currency investigations. From 1988 to 1992, I was assigned to the vice president. I was assigned to the president's detail for 1 year, and I was assigned to the vice president's detail for 3 years. In 1992, I was transferred to Capitol Hill, and I spent 1992 to 1996 representing the Secret Service on Capitol Hill. From 1996 to 1999, I was promoted, and I was a supervisor on the vice president's detail once again. In 1999, I was promoted once again to the resident agent in charge of the Secret Service resident office in Connecticut.
I started in the Boston office. I was there for 5 years. I started in the General Crime Squad. I went off to the Counterfeit Squad in Boston. And then I went off to the Protection Intelligence Squad in Boston. From there, I got transferred to Washington, D.C. in 1999, off to the President's detail. I was assigned to the President's detail for 5 years. I protected President Clinton for 2 of those years. And then for 3 years, George W. Bush. I was assigned to both First Ladies Hillary Clinton and Laura Bush while I was there. While I was assigned to DC, I was also assigned to the Secretary of the Treasury, who are other protectees that we protect. I finished up with the President's detail in 2003 and went off to our emergency preparedness program. And from there, went off to our Protective Intelligence Division, where I was assigned for 2.5 years. Finished up with Protective Intelligence, went off to our Liaison Division, where I interacted with Cabinet members, Department of Defense members, and Capitol Hill members. 2009, I was transferred to New Haven, where I'm the resident agent in charge.
Okay.
You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I was in the Secret Service, it was 20 years. Now, for agents being hired today, the average career span would be about 25 years.
We have protection and we do investigations. But for sure, the protection element is very important. We protect our nation's leaders no matter where they go. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we're always there. Whether they're in the United States, whether they travel abroad, we're always there ensuring that they're safe, ensuring the safety of our government and our nation's leaders, and what we call the continuity of government, making sure that there's always a leader in place for the United States. We also protect a lot of foreign diplomats, foreign heads of state that come to the United States, such as foreign presidents, foreign prime ministers. This is especially noted during the United Nations General Assembly in New York, which we do every September. We protect all visiting foreign heads of state that come to New York. What are some of the pros? Well, you'll definitely be able to see things and hear things and be around things that that no one else in the world will ever be privileged to. A lot of things we can't talk about, a lot of things we can. I've gotten to see all kinds of places around the world. I've been to every continent except Antarctica and Australia. So I've traveled all over the place, and I've gotten to see all kinds of world leaders and stand right next to them as part of the job. There's certainly a lot of pros, but some of the cons: you miss a lot of birthdays, you miss a lot of holidays, you miss anniversaries, you miss a lot of family get-togethers. Sometimes you're there right when history's in the making, and you know that whatever event is happening, you may not be part of the history, but you're standing right there as history is being made, and that's a very interesting thing. I can recall a lot of periods in history that I can remember exactly where I was when I was working at that time. So it's one of those things that's always etched in my mind. You know, a certain period in time that's a historic moment. And I would say that's a pro of the job.
I would say the most fun aspect of the job for me was traveling. I enjoyed traveling the world. I've been to most parts of the world. Some very nice parts of the world, some not very nice parts of the world. But at the same time, I also enjoyed the criminal investigations. I enjoyed working complex financial crime investigations, leading to the arrest and conviction of criminals. And I also enjoyed protective intelligence investigations, where we investigate threats against the President of the United States. I think, to say it succinctly, the most enjoyable part about the job was it was every couple of years, your assignment was changing, your responsibilities were changing, and there was always new and exciting things to do. But there are difficult parts to the job too. The work is extremely hard. You work long hours in many cases. If you're married, and have children, you're away from your families for extensive periods of time. There's a lot of stress involved in the type of work. It's not like going to an office job 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. You've got a tremendous amount of responsibility. There's a lot of stress involved in that. There's a lot of difficult work that has to be done, whether you're protecting the president and the vice president, or you're doing a criminal investigation. So it's not for everybody. You have to have a strong work ethic. You have to be committed, and it has to be something you really want to do.
Sunglasses. Everybody thinks we wear sunglasses, and we do.
Mm-hmm.
That we don't smile. We smile. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of people, you know, they see us on TV a lot with the president, and you know, wearing dark suits, sunglasses, and earpieces.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we all go home to our families. We all have a family. We all have a home. We all go somewhere, and you know, we're a lot like other people in that we're part of the community. We all live somewhere. We're all part of, you know, whether it be softball, baseball, getting involved with our kids' activities, church activities, school. We're all part of that community, and I think a lot of people don't realize that we live amongst everybody else, you know, in the community, and you know, we have families, and that's what we do at the end of the day. We all go home and we go somewhere. 9/11 was a very historical time and a little bit crazy. I was assigned to Laura Bush, and at the very moment that this was happening, we were in Senator Kennedy's office in the U.S. Capitol, and that was that's etched in my mind. We knew that the Capitol was what we would consider a target, a soft target, that if terrorists are in fact hitting the World Trade Center and other areas, we knew that we were probably in a location that we wanted to get out of. As we were getting ready to evacuate First Lady Bush from the Capitol, the Pentagon was hit. And we could see the smoke from the Capitol as we looked over the river towards the Pentagon. We immediately put her in the cars, and we brought her to an undisclosed safe location. And that was definitely crazy. As we were escorting her out of there and driving away, a lot of the streets were blocked and were crowded. And we did bring some of the vehicles up on the sidewalk. We were driving up on the sidewalk. We were going across median. We were driving against traffic. We had police escort. We had a Secret Service CAT team, which is our SWAT team, working with us. And we brought Mrs. Bush to that undisclosed location. And we waited there for the entire day. Until the president made it back to Washington, D.C. that night. So for sure, I guess you could say it's certainly historic. It's a little bit crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of played a little bit out like a movie. I mean, we were really going from the U.S. Capitol to where we were going, driving up on streets against traffic and trying to get her where we would try to get her safely, but also quickly.